I'll start with the Calhoun Ranch. We the goals that we had set was, we didn't really have specific goals, but we all knew that we wanted to keep the property and pass it on to the next generation. And I think what has really helped me on both ranches was actually an American Farmland Trust succession planning that Nancy and I participated in with Women for the Land in California. And we were given a worksheet to go through, and it really helped, be outlined line by line. And the same, so that when we started to work with the home ranch, the mediators helped us, gave us a very similar worksheet. And I was happy that I'd really thought it through with the first program to come up with goals, my personal goals. And I would say that not everyone in the family has gone through that process, which makes it very difficult. They really do not want to even look at it, I don't think. They want it to stay the same.
So let me kind of back up. So goals for the home ranch, for me, it started early on. The one thing I started with, it was transferring your farm or ranch to the next generation. That was probably the first thing I ever read from the Montana State University Extension. And they actually had worksheets to think about, goals to work on. So my cousin and I, the first time we got a meeting together, and it was with 3 generations, and nobody could understand why we needed this. It was kind of brutal. And afterwards, people were questioning my motives. It wasn't pretty, to be honest. And the meeting, how they spoke during the meeting, it was very defensive. And we didn't have any help at that point. So I knew at that point we needed outside help. And so the first time we got a consultant who would give us a one-time meeting for free to help us. And again, this was a 2-generation one. And again, it was a couple points, people were in tears. It was not pleasant. And it fell apart. We had one meeting with him and it all collapsed. A few years later, probably 3 to 5 years later, did we meet with, it was quite a few years later, we hired a consultant who I had listened to at a workshop. And at that time I was working with Leah from California Farm Links. They are resources that help you. I mean, she was with us for probably 2 to 3 years, handheld us through a lot of the processes. And so we had another few meetings. We probably met with 2 or 3 times with both sides of the family this time, but again, that collapsed. And I mean, it's really been a struggle. And so now, fortunately, it probably took me 4 to 5 years to convince the family to work with the, okay, so they're called the California Agriculture Mediation Program. And it's a nonprofit organization here in California where they set you up with attorneys. So we have 2 female attorneys acting as mediators, walking us through the division process. And we've gotten further than we ever have. It's an amazing program. And so we're doing pretty good. And all along the way, I forgot we were on goals. Each person did have us work on goals. You know, they set us up with goals, each counselor, each person. And so we always have had goals to work on, you know, working along, dividing if possible, maintaining it in rangeland. And so they've helped us along the way to set goals and try to focus on them, because it's really easy to be sidetracked from your goals, especially with a lot of baggage and history, you get sidetracked. And so to be forward thinking, think about how you're going to get to that goal. That's so important. And I think really it's lifelong. I mean, succession with a family, it never ends. And that's the one thing that they taught us almost every place I attended, is that you want to start the next generation young, and it's lifelong, because everything changes.